Hey guys, welcome to Fight Talk Live. Hey guys, welcome to Fight Talk Live right here on MotiveRadio.com. It's Thursday, it's 4 p.m., but for everybody watching right now, you're watching a little bit delayed. Let me apologize in advance. We had some technical difficulties that were out of our hands and with our internet provider, so this is going to be posted a little bit after the fact. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. My name's Adam Villarreal, and again, welcome to the show. So let's jump right into our first guest. I'm happy to have Jose Shorty Torres in the house. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm great, man. How about yourself?
Doing well, man. Doing well. So, I just met you, and you're obviously not a native to Houston, but, you have a very impressive record right now. You're undefeated. You just made your pro debut in the UFC on 9 days' notice. Is that correct?
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that.
9-day notice, 26 pounds. The reason why I was so heavy was I was actually bumping up to another weight class. I was the Titan FC flyweight and bantamweight champion. Didn't know what was going to happen next, whether if I was going to be signed with Bellator, ONE FC, Rizin, any other promotion, or should I defend another belt. You know what? Let me bump up. Let me do something different. I was going to go for the 145-pound championship, so I bulked up a little bit and, just heavier than I should have been. Got the call, immediately said no because I just wasn't a fan of these last-minute weight cuts, and called my weight management specialist, Nutrition, and everything worked out well. He got me down, and 9 days later, I was in the UFC.
So walk me through that, because a lot of people want that type of phone call.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will say, man, if I get a chance, boom, I'm going to be there. I'm going to do whatever I can. So when you're 26 pounds away on how many days, you said?
9 days.
9 days. Talk to me about what goes through your mind, and then what's the first thing, the course of cutting that weight?
The first thing that goes through my mind is, can I make the weight, and can I make the weight in the healthiest way possible and perform in the best way possible, because that's probably the biggest thing is some people make weight, but then they only have one solid round in them, and after that 3-5 round fight, they just can't make it and push through anymore. So for me, it was, can I make the weight and can I perform? And for me, I have a guy I've worked with for all 8 of my UFC fights, all 8 of my pro fights, and Nutrition's just a man. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had my UFC debut, and he 100% built the confidence in me and instilled it in me.
That's a commercial right there, man.
Yeah.
Get that guy some more business. So talk to me a little bit about the difference between the organizations you've been working with and now in the UFC. Was there anything particular that you liked more about the UFC or the smaller promotions? What can you share?
The biggest thing, the only promotion I've been in as a professional is Titan FC. My 3rd fight, I fought for the flyweight championship. My 5th fight, I fought for the bantamweight championship. Ever since then, I've been defending both back and forth. So for me, they've taken care of me very well. I've been able to fight UFC veterans, guys who've been around the sport for a long time, huge records, and they've built me up to be a poster boy for Titan FC. UFC now, Titan FC's got me to that mark. Now the UFC, it's a whole new thing. I'm one fight in, but it's a lot different. You can tell it's a lot more, and no, not bashing Titan FC whatsoever, but you can tell the promotion value is different.
Yeah.
It's all organized, this, that, everything's on TV, everything's scheduled, so it's not like, we're the 5th fight, might be in 2 hours. No, you're fighting at 7:30, and that's the case.
Yeah.
So everything's completely organized. You know when you're going, you have all this stuff, so I think that's the best thing possible. But again, I have 3 more fights in my contract, and we'll see what happens from here.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and introduce our next guest. Guys, if you know local MMA, you're a fan of women's MMA, then you definitely know this name, Killer B. Wynn. B, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Hey.
How are you?
What's going on? I am good. Excited to talk to you.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm happy that you're here. You've been very, very busy. So in addition to fight training, if people who watch the news know that you were just featured as a cast member of season 37 of the upcoming Survivor TV show. How was that?
It was
She can't say nothing.
hard.
So what?
It's real.
So what's harder, training for a fight or doing the show like Survivor?
What's harder? For me, it was because it was a new experience that was really hard for me. And in fighting, I'm a very self accountable person.
Yeah.
So if it's just on me, all that pressure I can handle, But when it involves, working with other people so closely and depending on other people, I'm not so good with that. yes, I am good with it, but I'm not as comfortable as I am in fighting because
Yeah.
fighters who I
Because
am.
with a fighter, obviously the pressure falls only on
Only
you.
on me.
If you win or you lose, it's all on you. You know, I've seen Survivor before, especially some of the earlier seasons, and sometimes it's weird because you'll get like the housewife from this state who maybe doesn't have the best cardio, or this dude over here who smokes a pack of cigarettes a day. So I can imagine for you as an athlete, when it comes to these high intensity, you know, athletic performances that you have to put on. I'm sure I'd be pretty pissed if things didn't go my way, especially when you're probably like yelling at somebody, like, hurry up, do this, do that. I mean, I know you can't talk about much,
Right.
but are we going to see some of that, or what can you share?
You're gonna see a lot of things. But I think I surprised myself with the teamwork. It's, you know, on an island you get to know people and
So
you,
we know it's an island.
Yeah, it's always an island.
Okay, good. All right, just make sure. Because I know you said you couldn't say what. I'm trying to
it's
get what-
always-
Never know. Might be a
it's-
surprise.
No, it's always an island. It's always an island.
All right.
Most seasons are an island, but out there, you know, you get closer to people than you think. You really are isolated. It's a real show. That's what I can say. For all those who doubt the show, actually, I may have years ago when it first started. It is real. Everything is real. It is an authentic show, and man, it's crazy. You gotta tune in. Shit's crazy.
Well, I'm going to ask you too about that. You know, a lot of reality TV is scripted reality TV. Jose, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
You see a lot of things that just they don't seem right. Did you ever find from going from a viewer to a participant on the show that you said, you know, why are they telling me to say this, or was there like
Yeah.
orchestrated drama at all, or?
On Survivor, I can guarantee you there is no orchestrated drama.
Shit's
They
real.
don't tell you shit's real. They don't tell you to do anything. They just let you be and they observe it. Now the only thing that might be different, like show wise of it, is they do edit it because you can't put 24 hours. You know, you have to put it into what I don't even know the
Yeah.
logistics. What 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And that's hard for them. So that's probably the only control they have. As far as this show, they scripted nothing. It was crazy. I mean, how do you script a show that depends on the weather, the climate, and crazy ass people?
Yeah. Real quick question, because obviously I do want to delve into your MMA career, but how do you even get picked for something like that? Do you audition? Do you send in a video? How does that work?
There's different cases. Very rarely do you get recruited, which I did. But most of the time, these are people have been watching the show probably the whole time for 37 seasons, 36 seasons, and they audition. And I was lucky enough to be recruited, and I feel very blessed. But normally you do audition. It's a long auditioning process. I think it's like 50,000 people that audition at a time. So.
Man, that's pretty incredible, though. 50,000 people, then you get handpicked. You didn't have to do anything?
Yeah.
Was there something specific that the producers told you, like, hey, B, this is why we picked you, because you have this, and this is what we're looking for? Was there any of that?
No, they actually. I actually don't know why they picked me. I feel really, really honored and really blessed to have had that opportunity. It's a bittersweet though, because when I found out how devoted people were to the show and how long they have had auditioned, some people have auditioned for 15 years
Jesus.
and just got on it. Yeah, and some people have auditioned
They didn't get a job.
season 2. No, they're like, this is like a whole lifestyle. People are really, really into the show, and I've come to respect that aspect of it. So for me, it was sweet because I felt honored, but also a little like guilty because I was
You
recruited.
cut the line, man.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, all respects to them.
Well, it's like funny because I like watching shows like American Ninja Warrior, you know, where you see like true athleticism. And whenever they show like people from Houston or they film in Houston, I'm always rooting for those people. So you definitely have our
Aw,
support. I'm sure
awesome.
you got all of Houston's support there.
Thank you.
Jose, so you're actually here helping B get ready for a fight. Talk to me a little bit about that, B. What do you have coming up? And then Jose, I want to go to you and
Yeah.
talk about that training. B, what's on the horizon for you?
So, July 21st, I am fighting for the world title, for an atomweight world title, which I'm really excited about. It's a big point in my career. A lot of people really stress on the UFC title, which is prestigious and it's the biggest promotion right now. But for me, as of now, until UFC or Bellator or those promotions recognize us atomweights as talents, I'm really proud to represent a promotion like King of the Cage. And there's a couple of, maybe like 3 other ones that have atomweights, but I'm really proud to soon be an atomweight champion.
So this is King of the Cage, right?
This is
And that's
King-
Terry Treblecock's
Yes.
organization.
Yes.
So for anybody who doesn't know what an atomweight is, there's different weight class. Tell people what an atomweight is. What are you weighing at?
So atomweight is the best weight class in MMA.
In the world, by the way.
In the world.
In the world.
Opinion wise, whatever. Whatever.
No, but we are 105 at weigh-in day. So it's 105 pounds. The lowest in the UFC right now is 115. So we are the lowest right now. Weight class for women's is 105. Tons of talent, tons of beautiful women, tons of, as you know, like the smaller you get, for all those MMA fans out there, the smaller in size, you see more technique. You see more
Way
skill,
more speed,
way
too.
more speed, way more skill, way more grit because we have chip on our shoulders. You know,
Yeah.
we're little and,
Yeah.
and we have to fight harder. And there's a lot of knockouts. You'll be surprised.
You know, my mama raised me better to know to ever ask a woman what her weight is.
Mm-hmm.
But talk to me a little. I'm not. You know, what do you? Not necessarily what do you walk around at, but like talk to me a little bit about the weight cut that you go through.
So I walk around. I'm not shy about what I walk around at.
All right, go ahead. Hit us with
I
it.
walk around at about 25 pounds, which is 125 pounds. I'm sorry. 125 pounds, which means I cut about 20 pounds to 105. But I work with nutrition as well. Me and Shorty have the same amazing weight specialist, and we try to stay around a healthy 125, even though it's heavier. It's healthy weight. So when I begin to cut, it just shaves off. Like within a week, I can be at 120.
Nice.
So I cut comfortably and in a healthy way.
Guys, if you're just tuning in, this is Fight Talk Live. We have Jose Shorty Torres in the house, and of course, we just talked to Killer B Win over here. Jose, talk to me a little bit about how you know B and how you came to help her get ready for this fight coming up for King of the Cage.
I punched her in the face. She liked it, and then brought me in.
Some people are into that, yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. I think that's actually really,
She
really
like being
accurate.
choked.
What can I say?
So we were training at Jackson Week at the time, and so I went down there for my training camp, and she was coincidentally down there training. Well, I'm a small fighter that, you know, if there's a woman around that just doesn't have the practice partners, they're gonna call you out. Well, B called me out, and I started moving with her, and you know, sometimes with some of the women, like I have to hold back obviously power, sometimes speed, and maybe even sometimes technique because the women are you know, they're slowly coming into MMA compared to the guys who've been around for years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, we'll see how this girl goes, and she just punched me square in the face. I was like, oh man, this girl's fast. And
She
then
said,
that
nice to meet you.
yeah, and then we started moving, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. And she comes to me after, and even though I kind of sadly insulted her, she comes to me after, she's like, man, I like going with you. It's fun. I was like, man, you're actually pretty good. She goes, what do you mean, actually? You know, so, it was a lot of fun, and her and I got along very well. We kept on practicing, and that's something I like to do is help out as much as possible. And you know, I helped her out for her last camp, and you know, now with this one being another championship fight, you know, she has a phenomenal chance in doing great things. And again, she can make something big for the atomweight fighters. And for me, being able to come in and help her for her camp, it's a great opportunity for me. And you know, I'm excited to see what comes next.
What's the best part about working with her? What do you find to be her best attributes that you can grow on?
She lets me punch her in the face. I don't know if that's
Again, great
really,
thing.
you know. No, the biggest thing for her is, you know, kind of like myself, is that she has grit. You know, she doesn't care what she has to do. If you tell her to do something, she's going to work her butt off to get it done. And I've only been here for probably about 5-6 days, and you know, I taught her a few things. She pretty much absorbed it like a sponge, and she's caught on to it so quick, and now is like showing it off and having fun with it. So, you know, that's the biggest thing, is that she catches on really fast. No matter what you say, she's like, okay, no, you're right, all right, I'll do it. There might be some complaining, there might be some of this, but hey, I do that too, so I have a lot of fun with it. But she's always smiling in the gym and doing her thing and trying her best. So again, that makes me just that much more excited to see what she does July 21st.
Awesome. So right now, you're you have what, 3 more fights on your UFC contract, and you're obviously helping B, and you're getting ready for her fight. Talk to me a little bit about what you do to keep in shape. In addition to training her, do you stay pretty close to fight weight? Do you know?
I'm gonna laugh about that.
Do you expect to get like these last minute calls like your UFC debut? What can we expect?
I hope I never get a last minute call again. My biggest thing was I got 9 UFC calls, and I turned them all down until the last one, where I technically turned it down, then called back going, fine, I'll take it, whatever.
Hold on. Why are you turning them down? Just out of curiosity.
So I had 9 UFC calls. I believe 4 or 5 of them were all last minute fights, but sadly I was injured with a broken hand, torn MCL at the same time.
Okay, that
so
makes
it's one of those
sense.
things that, like, I was injured, I couldn't take it. And then another one was, hey, can you fight in UFC Charlotte? It was around a 10-day notice. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm kind of in shape. I'll get down. I'll get ready. And they gave me 2 UFC fighters. I'm not going to state names. I don't like to create drama like that. But they gave me 2 UFC fighters, and they both denied the fight against me. So it's like, so it's either I'm injured or no one wants to fight me. I'm like, all right, cool. Then another came on where I was possibly going to be on one of the shows, and sadly, the day before traveling out, I ended up injuring my shoulder, trying to do a last-minute weight cut, and I was just fatigued, injured my shoulder, and the doctor didn't clear me. So I was like, oh, I don't know what's next.
Can you share what show it was?
No, I cannot. Just because nothing was officially confirmed, and I
Gotcha.
never got to officially go out. But eventually, I got the UFC call, and I did work. I got a second-round TKO, and I'm happy to see what's next and make the flyweight division just that exciting division that everyone knows it is. But these fans that don't really pay attention to MMA, that really focus on the big guys, they're just kind of like, oh, they're small, whatever. But I want to show people that we can, have a fun, entertaining battle as well.
You brought up a great point with fans like always going after the big fighters of heavier weight classes. I mean, you look at a fighter like Demetrius Johnson, who's got the most UFC title defenses ever. Yet his pay-per-view headlines don't pull as many buys, as the other fights. What are your thoughts on that? How do we get past something like that? How do we put the light on you guys that you guys deserve? Because your fights are always exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, look at DJ's that slam he did into the armbar. I mean, you don't see that with the big guys.
It's the fact that, and it's very true, again, like B was saying earlier, the smaller guys are more technical because usually we don't have that type of knockout power. We have to do a lot more work just to get to that point. But you look at another sport, boxing, Lomachenko, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, they were all technically small guys coming up and doing their thing. Why were they so entertaining? It's not because they were entertaining fighters. Yeah, that's the case. And same thing with Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, all the other small guys in the weight classes. It's the fact that the UFC is not really investing in the flyweight division. That's 100% the reason. Demetrius Johnson is easily the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He's broken many records, the most title defenses, all this stuff, and he's cleared out pretty much the whole division. It's just the fact is the number 1 and number 2 guy, Benavidez and Henry Cejudo, keep on beating everyone else that are coming up like prospects, like myself, and it's just being recycled. Again, Demetrius Johnson having a rematch against Cejudo, I believe it's August 4th as a co-main event, and honestly, no one wants to watch the fight. Does Cejudo deserve the rematch? Sure, but
people have already seen it.
You lost in the first round pretty badly. It wasn't like it was close, so do you deserve a title shot? Sure, man, that's awesome, but it's not a fan entertaining fight, and that's what we are. We're not just fighters, we're entertainers.
Can I chime in on that subject too?
Go ahead.
I think because it relates to atom weights also, I think that the reason that the small boxers have so much fame and a lot of people watch them too is because boxing has been around for so long and the fans are educated. They even with Mayweather, people that don't know boxing will say, oh, he's boring because he's a counter striker. People that most of his fans know how skilled he is and how
that's all uneducated people.
Exactly how elusive he is. And I think that with MMA growing, I hope and pray that it grows to a place where our fans are educated. They know what we're doing and how good the small fighters are, the atom weights, the flyweights in the UFC, the men's flyweight. I hope that we get to that day. I think it's just education altogether. I think right now everybody's still looking for the savage knockouts of the heavyweights. But if you look at the heavyweights, they're throwing like 1-2, 1-2 kick. Now you watch the flyweights in the UFC, you watch the atom weights. We're doing all kinds of combinations, flips, jumping off the cages, and Shorty, in his career, if you Google him, you'll see a lot of finishes, a lot of knockouts as well. Google me, girl. But I think it's just education also.
So Shorty brought up a good point earlier. He said, I don't want to mention their names because I don't like creating drama. How much, like on the women's side, is built off of drama? Is that uneducated for me to say? To think that there might be, or what can you share about that?
I think that luckily for women's MMA right now, we're so new that there's two things. The real fans that are watching us aren't watching for the fake drama, aren't watching for all that because they really appreciate women's MMA. And the other one just wants to see girls scrap.
Yeah.
So I don't think that pressure is on us yet. I don't think that there's that much pressure for us to be beefing and going around and beating on our chest and things like that. I think that also, just face the facts. A lot of people like men that want to fight each other in the streets and beat on their chest, and we just don't have that pressure to act like that. And I'm very grateful for that because it's not really my thing, And I'm glad that they get to see the pure fighting and the pure skill instead of us having to yell at each other and create crazy stuff and throw water bottles.
What would you say is the hardest thing about being a female in MMA?
The hardest thing about being in women's MMA is that the hardest thing, but honestly, my type of personality, my favorite thing, is having to prove yourself. Because I'm a chip on my shoulder fighter. The only losses I've ever had in my career, even amateur to pro, probably 4 losses I have, are because I underestimated my opponent. So for me, I perform the best when I have to prove myself, and I think we constantly have to struggle to prove ourselves in this MMA, in this fighting world. But I don't mind it. I like it.
What's the toughest thing about this camp so far? Getting ready, you got Shorty on your side helping you out. What has been the toughest thing about prepping yourself for this upcoming bout?
The toughest thing about prepping for this belt is mental. I lost one rematch before because I underestimated her the second time around.
Talk to me about that real quick. Let's go into detail. So how would you say you underestimated this opponent? What was it about
my last,
her?
So what I'm referring to is I fought Andy Nguyen the first time, and I beat her definitively. And so I fought her again in King of the Cage, and I lost. I underperformed, and she came for it. She came for revenge. She came for, to prove to herself that she can beat me, and she did it. I lost to a split decision. There's a lot of controversy, but in my mind, I'm happy the fans supported me in the controversy of the loss, but in my mind I knew that I had underestimated her, if I'm going to be honest with myself, because I'd beat her the first time. So this title shot, again, I am rematching somebody I've beaten already. So I need to keep my mind set at, you've never beaten her, she's the best Jamie Henshaw you ever fight, and there's going to be a monster standing in front of you, and I have to prepare for that.
Shorty, walk me through being a coach this time around, helping me get over that mental hump that she's talking about to keep her mind ready. What do you do for her that helps her employ those traits?
We really try to break down the fights and, break down her first fight. What'd she do right, what'd she do wrong, and what could she do in the next upcoming battle. And, for us, that's what we've really been working on. Stuff that I believe I can employ in her style and go, hey, this is what I believe you should do. Let's practice it and see how it goes. And again, she's been absorbing things like a sponge, and I'm really excited to see personally, just to see how it plays out in the match. And we've even kind of bragged about it, like, what if I do this? It's like that'd be awesome. This is the best case scenario.
Planning a party afterwards.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is we work with the same weight management specialist too, so the weight's not a problem. We're both figuring things out. She's talking to me, opening up to me about little things, and it's working out to the case where I'm literally with her in 90% of all the practices. So whenever I see there's a problem, I can be like, hey, just relax. Or she's like, oh, this bugs me. Okay, we'll figure something out and try to play from there. So I think that's the best case scenario, and that's why I'm so excited for this fight.
Yeah.
What's the worst part of being a coach in fights like this?
I don't even know if there is a worst part. I am emotionally attached, and obviously when she goes in there, I'm going to be like, man, I hope she doesn't get hurt, or, obviously I want her to win the fight just like any other coach would be with their athletes. But, for me, I really just enjoyed this experience to be a coach, to be in the corner, and just to have fun, because that's something I do want to eventually, do as an athlete, is once my career is over, be a head coach and do stuff like this. But, I'm excited to see what's next in my journey, but for right now, I'm excited to see what she does in this fight, and, nerves will play off for me, that's cool, but, she's the one in the cage, so it's a little different for me.
Let's be real. What do? You win the belt. What's the first thing you do after the fight?
She's eating.
I'm eating. I'm going to eat so much rice and so much noodle, like you can't
We're
even
going to
imagine.
grandma's house. We're going to eat good.
Yes. You're taking away, like, rice from me? Don't play. I'm going to go for a whole bowl of rice.
And we're Mexican too. We get that Spanish rice.
Yes.
I can imagine.
No, you got to do the white jasmine rice, Spanish rice.
Girl,
I'm also Puerto Rican, so
grandma
I
didn't raise me on that, but it's still good. I still love it.
I prefer the arroz con gandules, so.
So again, right now, talk to me. You're going through your weight cut. Give me, aside from rice and noodle, give me a rundown of the things that you're missing the most right now.
Salt. I mean, I grew up on Asian food, obviously, so salt is my thing. I miss soy sauce. I miss fish sauce. I miss rice. I miss next subject.
All right,
That's what you're gonna make it
she's gonna start tearing up the whole studio right now.
Start hulking on you right now.
So what do you? So right now, let me go to you, Shorty. Right now, upcoming fight. Do we have anything in the works right now?
Nothing's in the works. I'd love to get back in September. And the UFC knows that I'm not afraid of any opponent. Again, I was bumping up to 145, and I was the 135-pound champ and defending as well.
I still can't
so,
believe you did that kind of a weight cut, man. Like,
it's neither do I. Trust me, I really thought every day. Yeah, nutrition.
on my foot. Y'all dropped
And
the
that's
name.
something I have to really put out there, because if it wasn't for him, one, I wouldn't have taken the fight, and two, I wouldn't have made weight healthy. If I worked with any other person, would I have made weight? Probably, but I more than likely would have ended up in the hospital or not performed well, and that's a big thing.
I talk about that a lot with fighters who come on. I
Yes.
always ask, give me your worst weight cut story. Because right now you have the luxury of having a great team now who are walking you through it, there's science behind it. Share with me a bad weight cut story, if you have one.
Honestly, I think this was, I wouldn't say a bad weight cut when it comes to the weight's not coming off this, that. It's more of, it's all mental. Weight cutting is mental. I mean, you see the film of Mackenzie Dern cutting weight, the film of Chris Cyborg and Darren
Cyborg
Till,
crying,
all
watching her crying cut
Mackenzie
weight.
And
Dern
I've done
cutting
that
weight.
when I was in college.
missed that,
I was
7
completely
pounds, yeah.
I was completely traumatized in college. I did 125 every single weekend, and I naturally grew when I was supposed to be cutting weight. So I thickened down, my shoulders got broad, all that stuff, and I sadly couldn't make weight anymore. Plus, I wasn't educated. I didn't know how to do it right. I didn't know what food to eat, how many times I should work out. So, with no one helping you, and plus you have a lot of negative reinforcement, I had a lot of, it was like PTSD for, college wrestling and making weight. So when I got this last minute call, I was like, I don't want to do it. For me in this fight, it was 100% mental, because every single day I thought I was going to miss weight. That I thought I was going to have to, tell the UFC, like, hey, I missed weight. I'm just like the average person right now in the UFC, missing weight and doing this, doing that. But, again, I had a good guy and just honestly an awesome team. They never gave up on me.
I want to say, we talked about Mackenzie Dern just now. She missed, 7 pounds?
Boo.
I always say this. I blame not only the fighter, but I blame their corner as well. Because at that level, UFC level, how do you not know what your fighter's walking around at? I mean, obviously they do, because they were actively trying to cut weight. B, as a fighter who wants to get to that level, to see a chick like that miss by 7 pounds, with your discipline and whatnot, what goes through your head? I mean, that's got to piss you off, right?
Oh, yeah. Pissed me off. Because it's not her first time missing weight. She's missed 3 times at Legacy, and I was there for that. I was there for the weigh-ins because they're local, she fought locally. I mean, yes, she is... I will never take away what she's done in jiu-jitsu,
Too bad,
I've never done that in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, it's amazing. She's brilliant in jiu-jitsu. But in MMA, weight cut is a huge part of it.
It's
in
the
MMA,
backbone of it,
It's
in
the
essence.
yes, it's the hardest part of it. So it's just a disgrace. 7 pounds, I can't with her, and I can't with the weight cuts. And I have coached teenagers at Muay Thai tournaments, and I've seen these kids go to school, mow their mom's lawn, do their homework, which I used to force them to do, and then come to training, run 10 miles, diet in the meantime when they have to sit in the cafeteria with who knows what around them. And these kids made weight. So I cannot sit here and not be pissed at a girl who has money, team, UFC backing them, to not miss
Nothing
weight.
else to do but to train.
Exactly. And the girl she was fighting, was it Jessie?
Which one?
She just fought.
This last one?
That she missed weight. It was Jessie.
ABC? No.
No, it was ABC. Amanda Bobby Cooper. I've known Amanda for a long time. She used to fight at 35. She came down. Now she's all the way down to 115, and she makes it. If you look at ABC's picture back in amateur days to now, she has done the work. And if you're sitting here saying you're big and you had a problem eating, look at your opponent, first of all. This girl is she's a natural 35er.
Yeah.
And she went all the way down to 115. So, and then again, she won, and then she got the glory of it.
Brag about it.
Yeah, that
No
whole
one shunned
scenario
her,
kills
no.
me. It just kills me.
I don't know, man. Talk to me, Short, as a coach. I mean, you're watching them up to the fight, up to the weigh-in. If you're Mackenzie Dern's coach, what's going through your head, and what are you telling her?
The biggest thing, and this is something that I have to obviously put up front, is did you do any sports in high school? Did you wrestle by any
No,
chance?
we got wrestling at Klein Forest. I graduated in 97. I'm a little older.
Alright,
I'm old
so-
man. We didn't get it till the year after I graduated.
So the way I learned how to weight cut in high school was, you're a freshman, you're obviously in a new sport, and you go, okay, everyone's cutting weight, so I guess I have to drop down and be at a different, smaller weight class. All right, how do I do it? Okay, there goes some seniors running with garbage bags on. They're jumping in the sauna after, they're spitting in bottles, taking laxatives, doing this, doing that. And that's all you're looking at is the
Laxative,
big
man.
brother,
Yeah.
routine is.
You're following their lead.
Yeah, he's doing it. Oh, well, I guess that's the right way to do it, so I should do it too. And that's the biggest thing. Even in MMA, it's like she's saying, you have the money, you have the team to do this and all that stuff. It's 100% you, and that's something that Eddie Alvarez
Yes.
posted out there too. It's like, doesn't matter the plane ride, doesn't matter where you're going, different country, doesn't matter this, that, whatever the case may be. It's 100% you.
Yes.
Mainly if you have a 2-month, 3-month training camp. Again, Mackenzie Dern, Darren Till, the biggest two right now that had months in advance in
Yeah,
those
90
before it was
days.
even announced, and they missed weight. Not close. They missed weight pretty horribly. 3.5 to 7 pounds. It's ridiculous. And you have fighters like myself, 9 days losing 26 pounds.
Yeah.
It's not the fight. It's not anything around you. It's the fighter mentally, because that's 100% what it is, and it's the education behind it. If
Yeah.
you're educated enough, you're gonna make the weight. But if you're just like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I've made it before, so sure, I'm gonna do it again. Dude, you have to educate yourself. You are now 100% a professional UFC fighter. Invest in yourself. You want to make
Yeah.
yourself a better athlete, invest in yourself. And that's what I'm doing now as a UFC fighter. I'm still changing and improving my game every single day. But it's I say this, and I say this in college as well. If you're worried more about the weight cut than the fight, you're at the wrong weight class bump up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's funny, like, you think about, like, the average person on the street. I got to lose 20 pounds before my high school reunion.
Yeah.
I got to lose, my brother's getting married, I got to lose weight for this.
Yeah.
So for them to hear, like, they missed a goal by 7 pounds, to the average uneducated person, that's not a big deal. Oh, it's only 7 pounds.
Right.
But, you know, for the fighters, I mean, not only are you losing money because you're losing money out of your purse.
Right.
I mean, when you develop that kind of reputation,
Right.
like, I remember Henry Cejudo with Legacy.
Oh,
You know,
he
he kept
missed weight all the
missing
time.
Yeah, he never made weight. He never even made weight until he made the UFC.
Yeah, exactly. So
And he
that,
still missed once.
Yeah.
but that almost kind of shows that, you know, the respect he had for one organization compared to the other, maybe. I don't know. But, I mean, you develop that kind of reputation in a sport where your record is one aspect of your reputation. I mean, do you really want to be known as the guy who's lazy and just misses weight? I mean, why would you want to pull that money out? I mean, short of to the audience, explain what happens to your purse when you don't make weight.
For example, Yoel Romero, you lose 20% of your fighter check, whether you win or lose.
Just giving it
Win or
away.
just show money, doesn't matter. So if you win the fight, it's 20% of all that money combined. So Yoel Romero, I think he lost $60,000 to Whitaker.
Yeah.
20% of that
And a
went to
title.
him. So yeah, and a title. So it's like, what would you do with $60,000?
That's someone's yearly salary, right?
Yeah, so it's.
You know, he
that's
wasn't making that
obviously
money in
news.
Cuba.
Yeah,
you
not to
know.
mention, sometimes when you miss weight, like Mackenzie Dern does, I don't know how she lucked up with that, but the fights fall out.
Mhm.
So you have your opponent. You're not the only one. This is not you getting ready to look cute at a wedding.
Yeah.
Somebody else is doing it with you, and you guys shook hands, basically,
Made an
writ
agreement.
on paper. I don't know. Spit in each other's hands, shook that shit. Like, it's important. Like, this is a done deal, and they're doing it too. And you know, so there's a lot of fights that fall through. You miss weight, and the commission, if it's too far apart, the weight,
Yeah, they're not gonna do it.
they're not going to do it. So
It's-
imagine them not even getting paid. There's been a lot of cases like this.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it, because, I mean, it is in essence like a marriage, like a temporary marriage, because you have to hope that they're going to do their part.
Right.
You know, so it's
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 crazy, man.
messed up. How much of it do you think is because of the Mackenzie Dern Megaton name?
Well, that's what it is.
You
and
know,
that's
do you
almost
think
a
that's why
mistake.
she's there?
It's the fact of when
Her
I
dad,
got
by the way, is a
yeah
huge jiu-jitsu superstar named Megaton Diaz, I believe.
when I got called, it was 9-day notice. They go, if you miss weight, we're cutting you. I was like, what? They're like, here's your contract. You're signed.
Right.
You're in the UFC, but if you miss weight, we're cutting you. Sorry, we just
Right.
did that to some English kid last week. We just have to be fair. It's like, you're not being fair, because even though we're the newbies and not as popular as Mackenzie Dern, Darren Tills, why do we get cut, but these guys still make a crap load of money and still get to fight?
Not to mention-
and they both win and make
Not-
the bonus.
Not to mention, afterwards, they called her and they were like, "Hey, you know, we care about you. We'll take you step by step. Take my hand, and we'll help you make weight next time." Come on.
Mm-hmm.
There was like, this is not take my hand, slap it. It's like, take my hand. I'm gonna pay for all of this nutritionist. I'm gonna pay for every meal you have, and you know. Honestly, I hope it works. Not for Mackenzie Dern, but I hope it works for the next opponent she has, and moving forth. I hate that it happened to ABC like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, yeah, Mackenzie got scolded. I'm still scolding her. There's people might be still scolding her on podcasts, but at the end of the day, Mackenzie got that win over ABC, and it's on permanent record, and you can't take that
Can't
back, and
change
it's not fair to me.
Yeah. Talk to me about a rule, Shorty, that you would change right now in MMA. What's something that kind of maybe not pisses you off, but you think that needs to evolve a little bit, maybe it needs to be changed? What would it be?
Man, that's a hard one. What do you?
Don't ask me.
Oh, yeah, I know, it's like
you
even
know,
my
I'm crazy. We're going back to pride rules.
I know.
Soccer kicks,
face stomps.
She's been like, doing the practice knees while I'm on the floor. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? We're not
I'm like, wait, is that
She's
illegal?
throwing shit in that can't even be.
Yeah,
applicable.
she's just I was like, what are you doing?
I remember my first Muay Thai fight in Texas, and I'm so thankful for Texas because they let us do full rules of Muay Thai. My opponent was like, mind you, very first amateur fight for Legacy back in the day. And my opponent didn't agree to elbows, and I'm like, what?
How do you do a Muay Thai fight and not agree to elbows?
I'm like, that's what I said. I'm like, what? I'm like, disgrace to, I mean, not your race, but disgrace to the sport. I was like, what in the hell? I was so pissed that we couldn't do elbows, and everybody was like, B, you're an amateur.
Yeah,
like she
you're
doesn't
not
want to
allowed
get,
to
she doesn't want to get cut up. I'm like, whatever. I'm crazy. I want to go to.
But let's talk about that a little bit. That's like saying, okay, we're wrestlers, but okay, you can't do single legs.
Yeah.
Like why would, I mean, that's an aspect of the sport. That's a huge facet of that sport.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, listen, I know it was an amateur fight at the time.
Yeah.
But how are you going to not agree to elbows? Which
I mean,
it's the art of the
I'm
8
with you.
limbs.
I'm with you. Can't do 7 limbs.
Yeah.
But no, 6.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't count right. 6 limbs, but whatever.
Yeah.
If it were me, any rule to change, let's go back to Pride days.
My thing is,
I got one.
I'm 100. What's up?
Yellow card from Pride. For people who stall, you get that yellow card. That's money deducted from your purse to go to your opponent.
Oh,
Yeah.
automatic?
Yeah,
That's
that's what they used to do
Oh.
in Pride. So if you were stalling, if you weren't engaging,
Right.
the ref would pull out a yellow card. If he pointed at you,
Ah.
that meant you lost. I think it was 10% of your purse, and it would go to your opponent.
I just want to
So
go
it
back
was a way.
to.
Yeah, it was a way for y'all to make sure the action was going.
I just want to go back to the guy that says stop, and then he drags you across.
Same position.
I
Yeah.
need that guy again. That was amazing. I need that guy again. Oh, you know what? If you go to Asia and you watch, because they respect martial arts so much, if you go watch a fight, it's completely silent. So you hear like all the punches, you hear everything, but the crowd is
true,
silent.
yeah.
You guys, I can't with you guys. I love you to death, my fans, but with the punch her in the heart, kick her in the vagina. I can't
Yeah,
with you
you
guys.
You get a lot
about-
of kicker in the vagina.
I
You
hear-
get
yes.
you get a lot of crazy stuff. It's really funny.
Yes, it's crazy. I can't even with this. And like
Titty
sitting in the
puncher.
crowd,
Yes.
sitting in the crowd's the worst. Like they're on their back mounted, it's like elbow her, kick her. I'm like, she's on the.
You're absolutely right. Because now when I think about Pride fights, it is you hear everything.
Yes,
That is true.
yes. It's
They
silent.
respect fighters so much. You got cauliflower ear, you're skipping the line.
Yeah, you
You
don't
know,
hear any
it's a
type of
samurai
thing.
culture.
You don't hear
Yeah.
any type of thing until the end where people start clapping.
Yeah.
The worst, yeah, man. Like Texas crowds are pretty insane. Like the
Crazy.
worst. When I was with ESPN and we would do like live broadcasts
Uh-huh.
at bars, I hated that because you had, and I've said this before many times, you'd have the guys in their affliction shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Guys who've never been on a mat,
Yes.
who've never trained at
Uh-huh.
all, but they're the main ones screaming, "Oh, I'd fucking smash his
Oh, yeah.
face, man!
Yeah.
Rotate your hips!"
Yeah.
YouTube. They learned off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you get a lot of that. I do UFC. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I train
It's a
UFC.
promotion.
Yeah. Now, the biggest thing that I hope one day that the UFC changes, like rule wise, the weight cutting stuff. But I think ONE FC implied it right now is
Yes.
they do weight checks. Outside of camp too, because
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. Johnny Hendricks, for example, is the biggest one.
Shit,
he
that
would weigh
guy
like,
was a king of this
and I
weight.
love the guy to death, but like
Big rig.
he weighs like 230, 240, fighting at 170 at the time. So it's like, dude, you're losing 50, 60, 70 pounds in a 2-month span. You're not gonna do it.
It's for their own health too. It's not
Yeah.
just for missing weight. It's like, it's good. It's ONE FC did it after that guy passed away. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I don't like that happened, but I like the initiative. If something happens, we have to change. You know
So
what I mean?
does UFC do hydration tests? Because I know with
No.
collegiate wrestling,
No.
Nothing
You
at
know,
all. And that was the thing.
California does.
Yeah, they do that.
California does.
So every state has their own little commission, their
Yeah.
own little government stuff, and that's how they do different tests, requirements, stuff like that. But the only thing UFC I believe right now is doing is if you come too high in a certain weight, they won't let you do it. But that's only fight week. But anywhere leading up to it, you can be
Right.
2 months out, 100 pounds over. They don't care. They're like,
Right.
all right, cool. You took the contract, you scheduled the fight. Come on in, let's do it.
Yeah.
And if you are Mackenzie Dern or Darren Till, you can miss weight and still get paid.
I
So,
mean,
whatever.
In favor of people like Mackenzie, like if they were to check her year round, like to be honest, I yes I scolded her, but she is new to MMA. I don't think it's excusable, but I think you should rise to the occasion because you've given the platform. But she's new, and I know she regrets it. If she would have been more educated, or be forced. If they were to weigh her year round, she would be at a certain weight that she can, make it happen. She said before in her response to missing weight that she was just too heavy. She ate too much,
Yeah.
and that would have never happened if she knew that she
You're
was gonna-
sacrificing noodle
Yeah.
and rice and salt.
It's a lifestyle change, and that's the biggest
Yeah,
thing. Is
that
you
would,
can
that's
still
what we were forced.
Yeah,
right.
you can still have certain things, which again, our weight management specialist requires us to be 20 to 15 pounds over outside of camp. Like, yeah, after the fight, enjoy yourself for a week or two, be as fat as possible.
get it back down.
I'm getting my weight back down right now, and I'm not even in camp.
That
I'm
would
doing
be-
everything B's doing too. It's the fact
Yeah.
of it's weight management, being proper. Again, I say this, with 100% like truth is being our fat too. We're
Yeah.
we're little minions.
I blocked Lou a little bit.
Yeah, we
sometimes.
we don't post photos on purpose. We post the
know.
old photos just
He
in case.
FaceTimes me, but I block him.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that we enjoy ourselves, we love food, we get it, but we are also professional athletes, and
Yes.
we don't have seasons. We're a year-round sport, so we have to be ready. We have to be in shape,
Right, you
even
said
with the
that.
last-minute fights. I have a 9-day notice, but it doesn't mean. Look at Cowboy Cerrone. He's done 9-day notices, and he's been
Right.
main event for multiple things.
Right.
With
He's always a
camps
man
and all
for
that stuff. He's just
volunteering
ready.
himself, too,
Yeah, he's like,
like-
yeah, I'll jump in. Cool. It's the same thing with Anderson Silva in DC. He's like, oh yeah, I'll jump in. Sure, why not? So you
Right.
never know what's gonna happen. You always gotta be ready, in shape, and just be ready for the next best thing.
Is it weird? Like, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Like, you
Yes.
have a three fight contract right now, or 3 fights left on your contract. Is it too much to ask if the UFC said, "Hey, we are going to test you year round, or your weight at least"? Obviously you decided they're going to be testing you, but is it like as a fighter if they said, "Hey, we're going to check your weight quarterly"? Would you be opposed to something like that?
No, I mean USADA can literally come in this office right now and test me.
Well, no, I'm not talking you started.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just stating like. They do that naturally with the drug test, so why can't they just bring a scale? I think
Yes.
that would
That's
be
true,
the
yeah.
proper thing.
Yes.
If you're, for example, we would say 20 pounds max, doesn't matter what weight class you are. But if you're, let's say 25, they're going to give you a warning. Okay, cool. You got to bring your weight down. We'll probably check you next week and then figure out from there, So it's something that MMA really needs to figure it out because you have all these young athletes, again, Mackenzie Dern, Darren Till coming up, and they're fantastic fighters.
Yeah.
But then the sport gets shunned because of the stuff they do.
Right.
So I think you guys are great athletes, and I think you guys can do and are going to do great things in the sport. But you're also professional athletes that you have a lot of people looking up to you and looking at the way
Right.
you cut weight. They're also mimicking what you do. So being just a role model in that whole
And
sense
that-
is a big thing.
That video of her walking out to do her
Oh, man.
there's obviously the two weigh-ins. There's one for the public and then the one
Yeah.
for the athletic commission. The one where she's coming in for the athletic commission.
Yeah.
You just saw it all over her face.
Yeah, she's just like, all right.
Man, I just want to say like a couple things about weight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, because I like to take
Preach, girl.
opportunities. Yes, I want to take opportunities to make sure people are educated. 2 things I'm big on. If your child is 17 or under, and they're doing tournaments, Muay Thai tournaments, Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, please, I beg you, do not make them cut 20 pounds. When they're that young, I think that it's in my opinion, it's unhealthy for them. I don't like seeing 15-year-olds cutting 20 pounds, looking dehydrated for a Muay Thai tournament. I just don't think it's necessary.
Wouldn't that, did that ever happen in wrestling? Because obviously you were talking about wrestlers. They religiously make weight,
Yeah.
especially in high school
Yeah.
and things like that. Do you think that lends to like growth problems?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to say this.
Stunted.
Like, we're
Yeah,
short.
stunted growth.
Yeah,
Stunted.
we're-
He wrestled way longer, and I know plenty of wrestlers. Not only did they do it wrong, they did it too much, and they compete the same day,
Yeah.
and then they weigh in multiple times within a tournament.
Yeah.
And
You could have been
it's
tall
it's not
for us.
healthy.
I could have been
Shorty.
tall. Actually, it was funny. But
Jose
my
Tall
I
for-
doctor
could,
wanted to
I
make
could
me
never
tall,
have
too.
been tall, so I can't really blame the weight cut from wrestling. But
Maybe an inch or two. But
Maybe.
it is a big thing, and again, it's also we're saying the UFC should implement weight checks and all that stuff. High schools have implemented the hydration test and
test.
body
Oh, have
fat
they?
testing,
Yeah.
which is great.
Can
But
you share with the audience who may not know what a hydration test is?
so the hydration test is if your urine is a certain color, darker than clear. Basically, it's telling the doctors that your
looks like
body
whiskey, it's bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
that also too is your body's dehydrated. Even if it's like a decent tint of yellow, it'll they put a little dipper in there and go, okay, now hey, this says you're
Yeah.
dehydrated. You got to come back again. We won't let you make this weight until you come back again. Then after that, they do a body fat check, which they pinch your skin, do all that stuff, put it in the computer, and goes, you can only lose this much amount of weight per week. So by the time your first tournament comes, you can only make this weight. We won't let you go any lower. Even though you probably can make lower, the healthy way to do it is a computer, and that's the thing. So some kids, really drop a lot of weight for these weight checks. And again, I'm definitely one of those people that have done this in high school and even in college. People will cheat on these hydration tests, even though you have people looking at you while you pee.
So how do
They
you
can-
cheat for something like that?
You can put water in teardrop bottles. Don't, guys, whoever's in college and
We're
in
not
high
condoning.
school.
Ah,
We're not condoning
yeah.
this. We're not condoning
But
this.
Fool's trying to pass
yeah,
drug tests.
literally, like we've had like little like teardrop bottles and put water in there,
Dilute it,
and
yeah.
just press it in there, just anything, So it's crazy, how people can cheat and then still work it out. Me, I was an NCAA scholarship, so I needed to make the weight, even though I was still a growing athlete. My
For the
coach,
record, Jose
my
never
coach
cheated,
never,
guys.
my coach never let me bump up, so that was my big problem. And even though I wanted to, it's just it was one of those things. But what B is saying is, you have 15, 14
Yes.
kids who are literally hitting puberty and starting to get
Yeah, that's
deeper voices, thicken out, all that stuff. But they're cutting 20, 30 pounds, and they don't know how to do it. So it's
Yeah.
affecting them that much more. My high school coach never taught me. My college coach
Yeah.
never taught me.
So let me ask you this real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So
Yeah, go
do
ahead.
you, when we talk about the stunted growth, like, do you have people like siblings that are taller than you that are like? Is there?
So far, my brother and my father were all the same size. My family's very short, but my
My
mom's
mom's 4'11".
My
I
mom's
feel you.
4'8". Damn, I wish.
Damn.
But
I won this one.
No, but
Literally.
I've seen plenty of people stunted growth. Like if you just look at the wrestlers. Look at tons of people who've wrestled a long time. Majority of them are short. You know what I mean? And it definitely stunts your growth.
What do you say to a parent, like someone you're coaching, if you see, like, have you ever had that conversation with
I've
a
had
parent where you're like,
plenty.
hey, so talk. I mean, obviously we don't need to know who they are, but like, what do you tell them? More importantly, how do they respond to that? Because that's, I mean,
For me,
it's a sensitive time in their life.
For me, I think parents need to be educated and involved if your kids are in the kind of sports that make them cut weight. And now MMA is a trend, and now kids can fight at 17 and sign off. And I don't mind it. I think it's great. But they need to know how to keep their kids healthy, or they need to outsource somebody, a nutritionist, because I have to, like nutrition.
There you go.
He's not a nutritionist, weight management specialist,
Yes,
so whatever.
yes. But because you have to understand, parents. I'm talking to you guys.
Listen up, parents.
Yeah, you have to understand some of these coaches, and not all of them. There's some great ones, but some of these coaches will, if your kid's talented, they will push them to cut this weight. They will push them to do all these things to get notoriety, to make money, because now it's MMA's big. Wrestling also, having as many kids get scholarships or go to the Olympics means something to the coaches. So you have to be involved and you have to watch it. You can't just hand your kid over it sometimes. In my opinion, you have to be educated, please. Because there was a 17-year-old girl that died in Australia cutting weight because her dad was the main person and involved in her weight cutting. And it's devastating. I just can't. I have so many kids that I've trained with that I just always tell them. And kids wanting to please their coaches and things like that, and they want to be great. But let me tell you kids something too. If you're doing amateur kickboxing, amateur MMA, if you can't kick ass at a natural weight, if you think you have to cut at amateur level 20 pounds down to beat somebody
Speak
up,
on it,
honey,
bro.
you don't need to be fighting.
Preach it, girl.
If you want to be a world champion, you should be able to beat anybody up at an amateur level at
Hallelujah.
your natural weight. You should be able to walk in like at Muay Thai. I walked in whatever weight. I fought at 125. Look at me, 4'11". I literally walked on there, took a bite of a cheeseburger and fought. I'm not trying to make myself sound like a badass, but there's nothing to prove by cutting weight too early. Sorry,
It's
that's all.
a huge
There
thing.
she goes,
I wrote
man.
plenty.
We need to isolate that audio.
Makes me mad.
Yeah.
I wrote plenty of papers in college. I was a kinesiology major, sports and exercise science, stuff like that. And I wrote papers on weight cutting where you look at fighters like Manny Pacquiao, Frankie Edgar, Anthony Johnson, who've literally tried to make all these weight classes and like, why don't I just stay at my natural weight and kind of move up from there? And they've all been dominant champions from that. So it's a huge, huge thing to fight at your natural weight. So that's me.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's
So let me ask you this. Let's go ahead and change lanes here a little bit. B, talk to me a little bit about who you're excited to see fight these days. Who are you looking at? Who are you cheering for? Male,
Besides
female?
me. Who
Aside
else?
from the man over here.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm
Who are you a fan of?
excited. Who do I get excited about? I get excited about Stipe. Huge fan of him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's, earlier, I was making an example of the heavyweights about not skilled. Not Stipe. Was not talking about Stipe. That guy is technical, skilled, crazy, crazy good. I'm
So
excited.
does that say he has your endorsement for the winner between he and Cormier?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
They're thinking about that.
I love them both, but Stipe for sure.
So how do you see that fight going?
Oh man, I see.
Prediction. Let's get it.
I'm so bad at predictions.
She is actually really
This is why I don't gamble.
These
I
guys
lose
should buy lottery
money.
tickets.
Whatever I
or
say
blackjack.
will be the opposite. So I'm not even gonna throw this into the universe.
So tell me I'll never be a millionaire.
You'll never be a
All right,
millionaire.
let's hope that I get it. Cause
Yes,
Fingers
yes,
crossed.
yes. See, that's what I'm saying. Nobody ever asked me to bet ever. But also, I'm still excited about. Oh, I'm excited about Tisha and Joanna.
Mhm.
That is like, can't wait for that to happen. I want Shorty back in there for sure. I want Adam Waits in the UFC.
There, that's true.
You know,
So how many weight classes does UFC have right now? I mean, it's
for women's, it's
Is it- or-
115. I don't
Uh-huh.
know the whole thing, but for women's, that's what I'm concerned about.
that's all she cares about.
115, 125, 135, and 145. I love Cyborg, fan of hers, but it's not right for them to have a 145 for about 3 athletes and 35ers that are going up. I know she's huge. I know she is strong. I know she knocks people out, but
I'm ready to see her fight.
there are like over 100 active, skilled, great 105ers that need to be put in the UFC right now.
That's true. That's true.
It's
what,
true.
What about you? Who are you a fan of, Shorty? Who do you like?
A lot of the guys I've trained with, I think the biggest and notable, the most notable guy I've trained with, mainly recently
Name
is
drop.
is
Say it
TJ.
again.
Is
Dropping
not
names.
killer. No, is TJ Dillashaw. You know, I'm excited to see the rematch. I don't believe Cody Garbrandt deserves a fight, but you know, hey, it's a huge fan entertainment
Yeah,
fight,
man.
and it went back and forth. So why not? But you know,
You know, I
training
mean-
TJ, he's helped me out a lot, so I'm excited to see him.
You know, I don't mean to switch lanes again on that, but that does piss me off. What are your thoughts as a pro fighter? Guys who lose and automatically get an automatic rematch.
Well,
I mean, I know sometimes it's in their contract. They'll have an automatic rematch clause, but like talking about Henry Cejudo coming up.
Well, Henry Cejudo worked his way back up. Same thing with TJ Dillashaw when he lost against Dominic Cruz. It was a split decision. It was controversial. It could have gone both ways. And they gave him 2 years to pretty much get back to it. He had to fight Sun Sao, and I believe he had to fight Lineker. 2 guys that one he already lost to, and Lineker's just knocking everyone out.
Yeah.
So he fought 2 of the top 5 guys in the bantamweight division. So it's not like he fought random guys just to get back to it. He fought 2 guys that are in the best in the division that could have, if they beat TJ, fought for the title. He beat them both, and then finally got the title shot because it was more of a dramatic thing to have him fight his old team, Team Alpha Male.
Yeah. That's a good drama there.
And that's the only reason. Honestly, I believe that's the only reason he finally got the shot. But you know, the rematch. It's one of those things that they made TJ do 2 years, but Cody, because of the drama, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get an automatic rematch. You know, so I'm not a fan of it, but you know, so be it.
B, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Anybody that I know right now you got your eye on the title and that's all you're thinking about. Look at that. Looks
And
ready to go.
and food.
And food.
Yes.
But is there anybody else aside from your upcoming opponent that you're like, you know what? That's somebody I want to test myself against.
Angela Lee.
All right,
I want
let's hear
to
about it.
fight Angela Lee.
She's ready. She's actually been telling me all week.
Respectfully, because I think that she's dominating over there, and I want to fight. I think, in my opinion, I think she's the best in the world as an atomweight, and I want to test myself against her. I think me and her stylistically would be amazing also because I'm a striker. We're both very well-rounded, but I'm strong in striking, and she's a strong grappler. So, and I like fighting bigger girls. It just gives me a little oomph. But
Yeah.
I really, really would like that fight. Whenever. Soon, later, whatever. I want to eventually test myself against Angela Lee.
And how long do you think before, like, say you get this title, KOTC,
Yes.
win another title defense after that, how long do you think it'll be before you get that call from the UFC?
I'm hoping I get the call before. I'm hoping that I get to
Mick
talk.
Maynard. Oh, these names dropping.
I'm
Oh,
hoping I
man.
get the call before, and I'm hoping that we get to talk about it, at least, plan it out, because I know that there's a lot of, like, ONE FC, a lot of Asian promotions right now that are vying for me and some atomweights in the States, and they're going to give us the platform. But I truly, truly want to stay in my country, and I want to fight for the UFC. But if they don't recognize us, then I'll move on to Asia. But I hope it happens soon.
I have a dumb question for you because when I
No dumb question.
when I posted that you were going to be on the show, I had a couple of guys text me.
That's dumb. Just kidding.
And, oh man, she's gonna be there. What's it like, like being in a sport based around violence and also being a beautiful young lady? How hard is dating for you? Because it was funny to read these text messages. I'm a married guy. I haven't been on a dating scene in forever. So
Yeah.
what's it like to be, young, skilled at fighting, but also
Yeah.
a very pretty girl? Is it hard dating?
For me, it's hard because
You know who this is for, guys. He
Just
knows who he is.
for me, dating is hard because the people that do respect what I do, I like to date somebody a little different than me, that does something different than me, so that when we come home, we could talk about something different. I want to learn from my spouse. Not that I wouldn't learn from a fighter, but I want to learn from about everything else. Like if he does a 9 to 5, if he's corporate or anything else, entrepreneur. So personally, that's my interest, something outside of fighting. Now the struggle is whenever I'm seeking out people that work outside of fighting, they don't normally understand.
Yeah.
And then at first, sometimes they're like, "Oh, that's hot, man. You kick ass. You're hot. Whatever. Let's go on dates." And then we go on dates, and the more they get to know it, it's like, "Oh, babe, you can't eat? No. Oh, babe, you can't drink? No. Oh, you can't go to the wedding? No." Like, it's more than just the ego struggle for a man. It's like our life is so significantly different. Like this, we're the 1%ers. I always say, what we do is crazy. Like Shorty says, it's year round. It's lifestyle. So it's not like if you date me, you don't really get a quits on it. You don't really get a break. You have to jump on this train, and I believe hopefully one day I will find a man that can do that. But I mean, that's the struggle. It's a lot. But right now, I mean, I've been single for 4 years. And I've been focusing on my career and myself and
That's smart.
everything I'm doing, and I've been really productive. So unless somebody can jump on and ride with me, I'm not really going to
But it's not
stop
weird.
the train.
It's not weird to know, like if something went down, that you'd be the one taking care of him and not vice versa.
I don't,
Is that
honestly,
weird? Like,
I don't
it's like,
believe that.
"Nah, you make dinner, boy.
No, I don't believe that.
You put up the dishes.
I can protect myself, so I think that one thing I would give him relief is that he doesn't really have to look out for me. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'll take care of myself. But honestly, like, if I dated a 185-pound man, a 195-pound man, 6-something, or whatever height, whatever, as long as
guys
they're
take
like,
notes.
you
He knows he is right now.
that
I don't
he
want to
can
put nobody on blast, but
he can carry me. Like, I'm still 105. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still small, so I don't think I can just like go around punching big dudes in the face. That's not gonna happen.
what about you, Shorty? What's the love life like for you as a pro fighter? I mean, I imagine after your pro day, like I don't know, are you with somebody? You married?
Yeah,
or-
I'm engaged.
Oh, you're engaged.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
engaged.
So let me ask you, what was that like? Because obviously, you're on this undefeated win streak. After fights, you must get a lot of attention. There's after parties and stuff like that. Does your fiance ever feel a need to hold that arm a little tighter when you all walk into a club? Or
No, the funny
what's that
thing
like?
is, I never get hit on, which is hilarious.
She must have the
I
EY.
get more guys that hit on me than girls, which is just the funniest thing ever. I'm like, oh,
Same
cool.
with
I
me,
guess
man.
if I decided to cross over, it works out well for me.
Yeah.
But
I was
no.
in New York and got hit on only by guys.
yeah,
And one like huge 6 foot something transsexual dude.
Yeah.
It was a huge, and it had like.
That's why
the
your
biggest-
wife's not jealous. She's like, go ahead. I know only gay
Yeah.
guys hit on you.
You
But
do your
seriously, the
boo-boo,
whole
go
time
ahead.
it was nothing but dudes hitting on me. But so yeah, I feel you.
No,
there.
it's definitely hard when it comes to just her being with me because she is that, like, right now she's in school, she's doing her own thing, but I get injured. I had one fight where this is the first time she ever came to one of my fights, and I took her. I was like, after we're gonna go to Disney World, Universal
Oh,
Studios,
yeah.
might go on a cruise, and then
Then you're
I
laid
ended
up.
up breaking my hand, tearing my MCL, getting 12 stitches over my eye, 2 staples, and I couldn't walk. So it's like she's lugging me around in a wheelchair. She's like, "Oh, so what are we gonna do now?" I was like, "Damn, this really messed up the plan."
You should have
And-
found like a handicap cruise or something.
I don't know. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know if she was crying or anything after the fight. She's pretty mentally strong with stuff because she knows I'm technically okay.
Well,
But
she's
it's-
an athlete also.
Yeah, she's all my fiance Russell, so she understands
cool.
weight cutting and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But it's the fact that I can just imagine what she has to go through because I complain a lot where I'm like, oh, I got bumps and bruises, I'm hurt. I had MMA limbos, like what I like to call it before the UFC. Of what am I doing next? Again, B and I were talking about this
Yeah.
earlier. We're not getting paid on a weekly notice. We're only getting paid when we fight. So when I fought, at the time, I made less than $10,000. I think I made $6,000 for a fight, but then I didn't fight until 6 months later.
Yeah. So, you
just
got
imagine,
taxes.
Just imagine anyone fighting. Plus, I'm paying my coaches,
Taxes,
I'm paying my trainers, all
coaches,
this
yeah.
stuff, managers, all that. So I'm only making about 60% of my paycheck. And
See,
I'm
that's why you
saving
know
up
this is a
6
labor
months.
of love. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Because until you get to that upper echelon,
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing it because you love it.
That's
And
why we love sponsors. So thank you so much, guys.
Sponsors, definitely.
It's a crazy sport. So literally, the next day it's all unexpected. You never know. I could fall down the stairs, my career could be over.
That's true.
You know, and
Yeah.
you know she has to take care of me or whatever the case may be. So it's you know, for my fiance and you know for whoever she possibly finds or stay single.
Way to
you know,
make
For
it sound
every
low.
people.
yeah,
We have like a
She's-
dating
it's been
show
so
for
long.
me.
I think she's asexual now. She's just whatever. But it's you know
We're gonna have a
it-
dating show for me.
It is.
Yeah.
It is crazy. It is a crazy thing because you just never know what's gonna happen next. Again, I have a 3-fight contract, but they can literally be like, we're not gonna do flyweight division anymore. You're cut. So it's
We should do live Tinder.
yeah, we should do a live Tinder. That's it.
Just
have some
swipe.
fun.
Alright.
Swipe.
Lou,
We'll
Lou
throw it
and
up
I-
on the screen.
Yeah, just-
no, me, Lou and I is like, dude, let's just do Grinder, whatever.
What is that?
Grinder's the gay
That's
version.
a
of
gay
Tinder.
version, right?
No, there's a couple of sites where girls steal my pictures. I'm hoping it's like a
What?
small Asian girl that's stealing my pictures,
Yeah.
but they're like putting it up on sites and like fans would like screenshot like, oh my god, are you on this? I'm like, don't go, it's not me. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna get
There-
kidnapped.
My
You're getting
friend was
catfished.
telling me about this one. You know, like I said, I'm an old dude. And he was like, okay, you have to be brought in by someone who's already on it. You can't sign up.
Referral.
Not only that, when they sign you up and you do your screenshot, they will tell you 3 poses to do.
What?
So they know that it's you
yes,
doing it,
yes,
so they're
yes,
not stealing pictures.
instructional.
They'll say, you know, put up like 4
Yeah.
fingers and turn your head this way. Because otherwise they're stealing photos, just like you were talking about.
Yeah.
But he says like this one, God, I gotta get the name of it now. But like this is where like the wealthy people go. Like the regular ass dudes go on.
Is it the
like-
one where it's like dating up?
I think I don't know. It's something like
don't
that. But
date below your stature.
B's
date
really
up.
looking for a sugar
Yeah.
daddy. That's what she wants right now.
who got that
100%.
money?
Sponsors.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Careful.
he's like it's so like I mean like everyone on there is like really beautiful or they have a lot of money and
That's
it's like,
what that sounds like, actually.
Yeah, 'cause-
What's the sign?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that for you. We need to get them to sponsor the show. We got to get that doing.
Ow.
So before we wrap up, I know you guys have been training out at War Training Center. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other gyms that you guys have been
Yes.
working at, but can we show that video, War? Let's go ahead and put this up. Give
Oh,
Jeremy
what is
Mahon a
this?
shout out and some of the work that Ben has done. Ben here with Motive, and yeah, let's check this out. All dramatic. Yeah,
Ooh.
just-
When was this? Oh,
look at Jeremy.
Why does he always
that's
look
my
so buff?
coach.
He's always in fight
Who's this
shape.
guy?
It's a Viking right there. It looks like.
Are we in this video? Oh, there I go. No, I was kidding.
Oh, look at that. You just got slammed.
So War Training Center, obviously you know Jeremy Mahon, which you do if you know anything about Texas MMA. He was one of the founders of 4 Ounce Fight Club, which is still a great gym producing great fighters, and Jeremy has since gone on to do War Training Center himself, which is on Eldridge Road. If you're near Cypress, this is a great gym.
Yeah.
Shorty, what do you think of the gym? What do you think of War Training
It's
Center?
awesome, man. You know, again, I've been around the country, I've been around the world training at different facilities. There's a lot of camaraderie there, and it's really cool. Again, I get along with Jeremy very well, and the stuff he teaches. I mean, he's brought up some really great fighters, and even just people trying to get back in shape. It is a huge opportunity for a lot of people.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, you don't need to have a 6-pack to join this gym, unlike the guys in the video who have 6-packs, because I don't have any abs and I train there. So.
She definitely doesn't have any
Yeah.
abs.
I've been back there all week. You know, I haven't trained with Jeremy in years since it was at 4 Ounce, and I messed up by trying to leg lock him. And he told me, he's like, hey, you know, if you're gonna throw leg locks, you know, he welcomes it, but
Yeah.
he goes, I'll submit you even harder.
Yeah.
And so I went to do a knee bar, and he just grabbed my arm, and I was kind of disappointed on how hard he cranked on it. 'Cause that dude tried to break my arm,
Yeah.
man. But it's such a fun experience, you know, training up there with Jeremy and the guys out there, and you know, seeing you guys get ready. And you guys always working hard up there, so
Oh, it's definitely a cool thing. They got a bunch of kids too, wrestling programs, all that stuff.
Definitely.
For me,
Oh yeah, those
stuff
kids
like
are so
that.
cute.
Yeah, and they just grab onto things. It's awesome. So it's for me, mixed martial arts and just martial arts in general saved my life. I started when I was 4, so I do recommend all the parents to bring your kids in the gyms. Just get them out of the streets. I think it's again, I'm from Chicago, so that's a huge
Chirac.
thing for me. I do fundraisers for my kids and literally
Lot
try
of
to get them
murders.
in the gym. So it's a huge motivational factor for them.
Well, cool. Well, listen, before we wrap up,
Yes.
you know, let me start with you, Shorty. I want to thank you for being here. Is there anybody you want to plug or anybody you want to thank?
B went. Let's see. I think.
Sponsored by me.
Yeah. No, there's not many sponsors. I mean, all my sponsors know who they are because it definitely take another hour to promote them all. I do definitely have a lot of them, and I appreciate all the love and support. But
Social media.
my social media is Instagram, Jose Shorty Torres, Twitter, Shorty Torres 125, Facebook, Jose Shorty Torres with quotations around Shorty, and also my website, TeamShorty.com. For people who don't know, I always say we can, we will together. We are Team Shorty. Without you, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And actually, for all the people who do buy Team Shorty gear, 20% of all the earnings go to the kids in my gym so they can travel, train, compete, and do
Aw.
many different things. So again, I say mixed martial arts saved my life and got me out of the neighborhood. I want to do the same thing for these kids, and if I can do it, so can they. So TeamShorty.com, everything ships worldwide, and I appreciate all the love and support.
Awesome. I thank you for being here, and I also thank B for having recommending you to be here with her. So B, with that being said,
Yes.
anything you want to plug or anybody you want to thank?
I want to thank my coaches. I want to thank my gyms. War Training Center, main boxing gym, my coach Jeremy Mahan, Aaron Navarro, Jafari, Super D Wrestling, and Shorty for coming down here. Thank you very, very much. But also, hey, if you just met us today or you've seen me before, we also do technique videos for all of you who can't afford privates or just aspiring, or even if you're training in your garage. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at ShortyBTechnique, and we'll be showing you moves especially for us little people. So come learn something.
Awesome. And really quick, go ahead and give your fight a plug. When are we going to see this fight? When are we going to watch you win that title?
What's up? July 21st in Colorado. It's on MAV TV, but the easier one is to catch it live on Facebook at the Kane the Cage page and watch me get the strap and bring it back to H-Town.
Awesome, awesome. Guys, this has been Fight Talk Live. I apologize about the pre-recording here. This normally never happens, but I really appreciate your support. Once again, if you know someone that you think would be a great guest for the show, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram at AdamVMMA, and we will see you next Thursday. Thanks so much.
Holla!
Hey guys, welcome to Fight Talk Live.